Bam. All right, there we go. And Aubrey Logan, we are live.
We are live.
We are ready to talk to people
We are talking
on
to
the
people.
World Wide Web.
Well,
It's very exciting.
this is very exciting.
Yeah, I can tell.
I
Palpably excited.
the truth of the matter is I'm just sitting in a room with you, but in reality there's people in here with us.
That's the weird thing. That's the
Yeah.
It's like it's creepy, but in a good way.
In fact,
you know, it's like just all these people watching.
I'm sharing the link right now
Okay.
from your YouTube channel to my people so that they can join us and
That's good.
we'll
Yeah,
be
get
even
your
less
people in here
alone,
too.
but
There
not
we
that
go.
we're alone because we're certainly not alone. Yeah.
So, folks, I'm here with Aubrey Logan. Aubrey Logan is one of the most incredible musicians and up-and-coming artists that I have the privilege of working with. And
Thank you.
she just got off tour. You just get off from where?
I feel like
Europe?
I'm on a perpetual tour. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's like, your tour never stops, right?
Yeah,
It's just
never
like-
really stops.
That's
yes.
good. Yeah.
But I just got off a leg
Uh-huh.
in UK and France.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was really great. We were in Birmingham first.
Did you get some Costa coffee? Costa? Is that how you say it?
Oh, yes, I
Yeah.
did. I did get Costa. Costa? I don't know.
I don't know how you say it.
But I typically get up, like, even when I am on tour with PMJ, I always do this. I get up, especially in the UK, because
Yeah.
Costa is everywhere. I get up and immediately go to a Costa. And, like,
That's part of your. I remember because we did that thing where we gave you a GoPro.
yes.
And you went around, and that was your.
Yeah.
You found a coffee place.
I was
every
in
day.
Houston, Texas that day.
Yeah.
That was another kind of country I'd never been to.
Yeah. That's another foreign land.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I went to Costa and we went to Birmingham and then over to the south of France. 3 nights in one town called Aix-en-Provence. Then we went to Paris and then we went to London.
Amazing.
And then I came home and now I'm here with you.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a life right there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is I'm so excited to have you on this podcast because you're a perfect example of something I always talk about how there might be a style of music or something that seems like it wouldn't work, like it would be not mainstream, and you were able to take something that was insanely creative and something that nobody else is doing. Nobody else in the world is doing the Aubrey Logan thing.
Thank you.
And you made it a thing.
Thank
know?
you.
So actually, I wanted to start with just like what were some of the obstacles to doing that? Like, how many times were you told no, like in the beginning?
I was always told no,
Yeah.
in fact. It wasn't that I was always told no. Are you talking about kind of in the scope of making the album that I made that represents
Yeah, I wasn't
me
very clear, but I mean,
first on,
in terms of,
Yeah.
to give you an example from my own life, I
Sure.
remember like when I was in New York City and I was trying to get booked by like booking agents just to play piano at restaurants.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do this thing where I take pop songs and I make them into ragtime.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, nobody wants to hear that stuff. And like that was point
Yeah.
blank. Told
Got it.
that is not a marketable
And by the
thing.
way, they do because all of you here want to hear that kind of thing, including myself because I love it. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Because before I met you, really soon actually before I met you, like when I say soon, like less than 2 years before I met you, you were doing this by that point. And PMJ was really up and going by that point, and
Right.
I was living here in LA, where my allergies are running rampant right now, and I was still trying to figure out who Aubrey Logan was, and as an artist, in the midst of that, whatever that means for what the public wants to see or wants to hear, my mistake was I wasn't being myself. Because of the rejection I was facing, because I would say I was singing really. I was singing very jazzy. I was singing pop songs. I was singing my own songs, which were this
I remember
blend
seeing you
of.
did like Macklemore.
Yeah, I
did-
did covers.
Yeah, but
like
you did it, but the most insanely jazzy kind of like bebop kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then I'd turn around and write a torch song and sing that, or I'd turn around and write a pop song and sing that. And I was doing shows, and it was translating at shows pretty well because when you're in person with someone, everything's a little bit easier to understand.
Sure.
Everything has a lot more context. But as far as talking to record labels or talking to people that wanted to invest in me, we never saw eye to eye on how we wanted to present who I was to the world, and I didn't quite know how to articulate it, but my bigger mistake, it's not that I didn't necessarily know how to articulate it, I was afraid to articulate it. Because quite honestly, what I wanted to present to the world, which I finally did in the album I released in September, after knowing you for however long, which I find to be an interesting turn of events, I finally decided, you know what? When I act like myself, not everybody likes it, but a lot of people do, and enough that I think I just need to start sticking with me and putting all these kind of different genres, which to me are all really branches of the same tree. I mean, this jazz and R&B and soul and pop thing, that's all kind of comes from a certain thing, like in New Orleans, that you and I both know and love. And so that's kind of what my album sounds like. I mean, it's really what it is like what you do in a way, in that the music I'm presenting is, no matter what genre it might evoke in you or what feelings it might evoke in you, it's pop music that's really played by real instruments, real musicians, actual human beings that are really skilled and really great. So when I met you, that's all you do. All you do is play with real human beings, and you're taking real pop hits and turning them into ragtime, turning them into 1950s, turning them into all of these reimagined things, but you have actual musicians, actual singers. Some of my best friends are in Postmodern Jukebox because of you. So when you called me up, I don't know what you saw that had you call me up.
Well, actually, so I got
Shoshana
Bean told me about you. Shoshana Bean, who was actually the very first guest that I had on here. And she knows everybody. She's just always great with recommendations. And she's like, you got to see this girl. And we were going to do this thing at Hyde. And I think for whatever reason, you weren't able to do that day.
I got the flu.
Yeah, you got the flu.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was devastated.
Yeah, but I did see, I went back and I watched the link, and I think I saw you do the Macklemore thing. And I just thought, I'm like, this is so crazy. I mean, I just thought that it was, and my first thoughts was actually, it takes guts to do something that is that far out the box, you know?
Thank you.
That while other people would be very tempted to pursue a more mainstream approach of like, oh, okay, I'm YouTube, I'm going to do just a straight cover of this, you know? You switched it up in the most crazy way. And I could tell that there was, first of all, I could tell that you were obviously very skilled as a musician, you know, like both on trombone and voice, like you're just flawless technique, you know. But beyond that, you were taking chances, and I always love to see people taking chances. And, you know, I think that sometimes we can't even imagine something that is out there until somebody does it. So, I mean, we couldn't, like, you wouldn't imagine an artist like Aubrey Logan until Aubrey Logan does it.
Thank you.
You know?
And you wouldn't imagine you doing what you do with Postmodern Jukebox and with Scott Bradley until you see it, which you've captured with the videos and obviously the live shows.
Right. Yeah, I think that for me, there was a lot of people that were doing, there were a lot of bands that did like a throwback, taking pop songs and putting them in different eras.
Yeah.
I think that Postmodern Jukebox was the first to really build a whole platform and a whole universe around that.
Definitely.
And I think that that's kind of what we did there. But going back to what you said, I liked how you were talking about when you listen to the album, and it seems like it jumps around. There's different genres, but they all come from the same place. And
they all come from the same place.
I think that's really a key, because it's just like you wouldn't expect. I'm trying to give an example of somebody. You wouldn't expect that all John Legend does is listen to John Legend songs.
No way.
Like, you wouldn't think that he just listens to R&B ballads or something like that.
No.
You know that he probably has a lot of influences, a lot of different people that he's listening from all genres, whether it's country, whether it's jazz, whether it's, you know, hip hop, whatever. So it's weird that we feel like, as artists, a lot of times we feel like we have to give people this very narrow packaging and not deviate from that. You know?
And I learned a little bit to be a little more recognizable in certain ways. Like, as simple as use the same logo on everything so that people know it's me.
Yeah.
As simple as, for a while I had this haircut with the bangs.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. That's
now
very
I
Aubrey,
can see my forehead again,
yeah.
which I haven't seen in years. But, you know, like, keep something the same for a little while so that those who don't know who you are kind of start to get familiar with, oh, that's you, and I know I can expect something sort of Aubrey-ish, something PMJ-like from that. And I learned that over the years, but it doesn't have to mean change who you are, and it doesn't have to mean...
it doesn't mean you don't have to act.
You don't have
to
exactly.
Act. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that's hard for people. I think that a lot of people think it's easier to just to play a persona or whatever than to just be themselves and do what they like.
We're live on the internet.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
here we are.
It's evidence
that's
that
us.
that we are live. Yeah. exactly. I forgot what I was saying. I was going to make a point in relation to something, but we'll keep going. But so take me to the next step. Take me to when you had the Aubrey epiphany, and you toured with us for a bunch, and obviously, and you were able to meet a lot of fans that way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Then how did you get started? Because I think a lot of people, when people ask me about it's always like taking that first step, which is the hardest. How did you get started towards building a solo career? What was the first step you took?
Well, the first step I took was moving to Los Angeles for me, because I was living in Boston before I moved here, and I was a student there. And
Step one, leave Boston.
Step one, leave Boston. Not okay. So it's not that you have to move anywhere specific to do something new, but for me, that marked a new era.
Got it. Yeah.
So when I got here, it was like, okay, nobody knows me for this. Nobody knows me for this. I'm here. I had a small team of people that I knew here. Didn't know you yet.
Yeah.
And I had already written quite a good bit of songs. And that began the journey for me of eventually like coming into my own, feeling more comfortable with who I am on stage, feeling really more comfortable with how my show is. So I just started playing live shows.
Yeah.
I came here and started playing live shows, and I was
So we could say that step one would be to just put yourself in an unfamiliar situation.
Absolutely. Step one would be
where you're breaking patterns or whatever you did before.
Yeah, I would say so. And I would say for today's artist, play live shows. Get in front of people.
Yeah.
Whether you're scared, whether you're not, they're not all going to be perfect. I would not have met you had Shoshana not seen my show. There's no way. And so then you start to evolve. So step one is just do it. I think a lot of roadblocks is people think it has to be super perfect before they start. And it won't be.
Yeah.
And even if it is great, there's going to be something about it that's going to bother you, that you're not going to like, that you think is not ready. But you must begin.
Absolutely.
You must get in front of people and begin. I mean, if you're a performer like I am, get in front of human beings and play. I mean, I would play for 5 people at Room 5. It's funny, it was called Room 5.
No, yeah, right.
And
it's named after the
yeah,
people.
and then you build something there, and then I meet you, and I'm on your channel with Bad Blood, which is the first thing I did, and there was a massive jump in people that started to know who I was thanks to you. And then came a new set of problems to solve, which was great, which was, wow, now those songs I've been writing, those songs that I've been working on for years, I'm going to start making sure I put them on an album so all these new people that love Postmodern Jukebox can hear them too.
Yes.
And then I made a few more videos with you, went on some tours with you. All the while, I was on PMJ tour, writing my album the whole time, being over in Europe 10 hours ahead of people here, having producer meetings in the middle of the night after shows with PMJ, and then coming here back and forth and recording and going out with PMJ because it all helped. It all worked.
That's what it takes. That's really what it takes, right?
It's really what it takes. I mean, I think Ariana Savalas saw me cry more than any other human being has seen me cry in the history of human beings.
I've never seen you cry.
You've never seen me cry?
I've never seen you cry.
It's pretty much. I look the same, just with wet.
Tears,
it's just,
yeah.
But no, I mean, and it was totally okay. I mean, it was It was just the hard work and the fact that it was less easy than I thought it would be. You know,
right.
And we are as performers, our job is to get on a stage and, to an extent, convince the world that everything is great. But we're still living life, and it's still hard. So not only do we convince the world that everything's going perfectly, because that's our job, but then we also have to make sure they know that they think that everything's happy and cool when sometimes there's not. So we have that added layer of people don't necessarily know it's a little bit difficult, but it's all worth it, and it's all okay. And it's all great. Like, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right, yeah. Well, I want to go back to what you were talking about. Well, you're talking about like early gigs and that's because I think that's kind of the next step is you have to just do it. You have to just do it. You gotta, and it's kind of a grind at first. I remember my very first show, and I talk about this in the book, that my first show, I had like an original band back in Hartford. I was going to school in University of Hartford. Yeah. And I booked a gig, and I was like, this is going to be the best gig. This is going to be like my debut. People are going to be like, we're going to take over the world, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it was like, was like a dive bar, it was like a pool hall or something like that.
Yeah.
There was about 10 people there that were all playing pool. Nobody was listening to us,
Right.
and nobody listened. And then I was thinking, I was like, okay, I wonder if people will listen if I take my pants off. And then I took my pants off, and nobody still listened. So, and that was my very first gig. That was it.
Did you people hear that?
That's how it begins, So, and that was, I had many years of playing gigs where nobody listened. There's not really like something that, and I think that we always forget, or people that maybe aren't in the music space might forget that context is a very important thing.
Absolutely.
Like if you are playing and nobody was listening, that doesn't mean that if you were in a different setting that not everybody would listen.
Correct. Well, and when I was in college, I paid my rent by singing at weddings.
Right.
And the point of singing at weddings is singing cover songs, not like PMJ covers songs, but the way that the radio does the song.
Right.
Yeah. And if I had a nickel for every time I sang "Don't Stop Believin'," I don't even know. But yeah, and they're there to celebrate someone's marriage. They're there to be with their family. They're there to hang out. And they're not necessarily there to see the band, but the band is there to serve them. It's a completely different thing than going to a concert and you're there to see the band.
Right. I always say it's like kind of being like an ice sculpture, Like if you're...
Do I know about ice sculptures?
If you're... Well, yeah, that's right.
Sculpture.
We did a video with one. But, it's a kind of like, if you're playing like one of those jazz gigs, it's more like, you kind of say, you're the same purpose as an ice sculpture.
Sure.
It's like people want to look at people... Like, oh, look at those musicians being musical.
Oh, look at that ice sculpture. It's going to melt soon. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But they
better
don't really...
take a little look and then eat your shrimp and
exactly,
then look again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big... it's a difficult step to take, to go from that, being an ice sculpture, to being something... I don't know, I got to think of an analogy that would be... like something that everything would look at, like a painting. I don't know.
The bride.
No, that's not bad example.
The bride.
The bride.
The reason you're there.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, how many years would you say did you go from the wedding band thing, being an ice sculpture, to being like the bride?
I would say that it was all simultaneous for me. Sometimes, like I did both at the same time. I would do gigs where I could pay my rent by singing at the wedding, and then I would constantly, even when I was in college living in Boston, I would pepper it with gigs of my own, or gigs in a band that I sang with, for example, and both were necessary at the time, I would say. I don't know that there was a time where it flipped immediately, and I think that's another lie.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that you kind of have to be doing both at the same time.
Yeah, I think people believe that there's like a sudden shift. I think a lot of artists are waiting for their big break, or they're waiting for their big magical moment to become famous, and I'm not sure that exists. It can. There are things that can take you from one level to the next, but even those, if you don't treat it right and continue to work hard, those won't even last long.
Right, yeah.
Like if you get your big break and overnight success, there are people that have been, quote unquote, an overnight success, but those people have been working their butts off for years before that. Every time the Grammys come on and it's Best New Artist, I'm going, they're not new. They've been doing this their whole lives.
Yeah, absolutely. You only see like this.
They've been doing this forever. They've been working so hard, and if they continue to work hard, this Best New Artist award will serve them. But if they decide that this is their big break and they can just rest, and rest is good. If they can just be lazy, then...
Right. I always like to think of like when I don't know, what always helps me to stay motivated is you just wake up and just forget kind of everything you've done, whether it's good or bad or whatever.
Pretty much.
Just start every day new. Just start fresh.
Yeah.
Just think of starting fresh every day.
Yeah.
Like forget about the things that you've done. Pretend that you're just starting out on something. And I don't know. I like that feeling better than feeling like, oh, I've done this, so now I can't do anything else but do this.
Right.
Like I like starting this podcast thing because I'm starting basically from ground up. I'm starting from zero. It wasn't like there was a huge audience for in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun for me. I like that challenge.
It's always good to be challenged because I think, and I learned this last year. I would say 2017 was probably my most busy year I've had ever.
Yeah.
And it was too much it wasn't too much, but it would have been too much to try and do that all the time.
Right.
That type of level of volume being on the road and level of volume making projects and releasing projects. However, I'm sure I'll have a year like it again in the near future. So 2018 rolls around and I'm like, okay, I need to scale back or I'm going to die. Because part of that's true.
Don't die.
Part of that's true. I won't. There's no way. But if I don't scale back a little and have like a slightly less crazy, insane year, I won't be able to continue on forever and ever and ever. So it's this balance. However, it's a funny thing because I woke up the other day going, oh my gosh, I have 2 weeks off at home. I'm home for 2 weeks straight. And like, of course, there's plenty of work to do when you're home. You know this because you travel. That when you get home, you get to work on things that you don't typically get to work on when you're on the road. But then I had this moment where I need a day of Netflix. I just need a day. I just need a day where I don't do anything but sit with a blanket and my cat and my popcorn and watch Netflix until I go blue in the face. And I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. And then at the end, I couldn't wait to go back to work.
Yeah, that's how I feel about vacation.
Yes.
Like I can do it for a couple hours.
I can barely laugh.
But then I get super excited, so it does work. It works because I'm invigorated and I feel good about getting back to work.
Yeah. So
we should play a song before we go any longer because we haven't played any songs yet. And Aubrey's amazing, so you got to hear her play and sing. Let's do something. Let's do some jazz. We talked about
I love
we
jazz.
talked about doing a little Gershwin because we talked about Gershwin and great songwriter, obviously.
Yeah,
he did some stuff. So the song we were talking about was "Our Love Is Here to Stay." So this is one I played at a lot of my wedding gigs. When I was an ice sculpture. That's totally the thing that I played all the time.
This is a song that should be sung at weddings. That should be played at weddings.
Should be done.
It is beautiful.
The kids don't know this one.
Well, they're gonna.
They're gonna. All right, here we go. I gotta say your name right.
It's okay.
Aubrey Logan, ladies and gentlemen.
Scott Bradley, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm always blown away by not even just how you play, but also your phrasing and
Thank
just
you.
how much you swing.
Thank you.
Who were the people you listened to?
Ella Fitzgerald.
All right, I heard that.
The end.
Who else?
No.
Yeah, all right. That's all you need.
It's
That's the thing that people
Yeah.
don't realize that with jazz, and you could get away with just listening to one person, and
You
because
can.
they've absorbed,
Yeah.
so much music in their own life, you could probably. You listen to just Louis Armstrong, you become a killing jazz player just by listening to that.
It's like you're inheriting you're getting the gene passed on.
Yeah.
I don't think we share any genes, but anyway.
I don't know. Have you done a 23andMe?
I have,
Yeah?
mostly French.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder if.
Yeah, mostly.
When are they going to do that? When they're just going to do the 23andMe and they're going to do people that lived in the past?
Woo, that would be cool.
That would be.
I wouldn't
science,
mind.
I
I
don't
know that it's possible.
Probably.
They'd have to
Right?
go
They
get
just have to
things,
get some
yeah.
dead person DNA. I don't know.
I listened to Stevie Wonder a whole lot, and it's funny because you were talking about, breaking barriers.
Nobody panic. This is the thing it does in every episode
Ooh.
because I don't know how to get rid of that auto shut off.
Are we good?
I've tried it so many times.
We're getting a thumbs up
I think so. We're good.
from
yeah.
the invisible person in the room.
Shout out to
there's
Rook,
no one here.
engineering.
Hi, Rook. He just gave us this. So Stevie Wonder. Okay, so before we were talking about people doing musical things that you find unexpected or that
Right.
you don't find to be what you've heard before, or how can you envision it before you hear it.
Yeah.
I would argue that Stevie Wonder did that.
Yeah.
And we take it for granted now, going, oh, that's great music, all that stuff he did. Oh yeah, it's classics. All those songs are classics. Nobody did what he does until he showed up.
Yeah.
Really?
I think that even that first album was Music of My Mind.
Yeah.
Nobody did an album that was like that.
Nobody did an album like that.
It's funny,
Even
but I think we
Intervisions.
forget it. Yeah, we forget
the
it
big
because
ones.
we hear.
Yeah.
Since then, we've heard other people do that
Oh
kind
yeah,
of style.
that kind of style. But when
time-
at the time, I'm sure he started playing things, and some people were probably like, "This is weird. What is this?" And now we
Yeah.
consider it the golden standard for R&B.
Yeah.
Really, at the time, he was pushing the envelope, and now we're just in our wedding bands, we all know these songs. And at the time, I don't want to take that for granted. It's there's going to be waves of people, and I think I'm going to say something.
Yeah. Profound.
Not profound. I'm going to make a prediction.
All right, let's hear
I'm going
it.
to make a very positive prediction.
Aubrey Logan makes
This is
predictions.
a happy prediction. I think music at this point in time is on the cusp of being really, really intelligent and wonderful again, just like television has done. Netflix is putting out these beautiful
okay.
TV shows that people have to be smart to watch. They have to have a brain to understand the plot. They have, you can binge on the entire series, like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and all my favorites, things like that. But, for a while it was all reality television that wasn't all that substantial.
I do watch a lot of Jersey Shore.
Of course you
But,
do. But, and we'll keep
No,
it.
I know what you're saying though. I think what it is, I think maybe it's not intelligent. I think it's attention span. I think there's a return
right.
to attention span. Because
True.
I think that's why podcasts are big too.
But TV's figured it out. And podcasts. Yeah, you have to have it
Well,
on
not TV, I guess. Well, Netflix is. And
Sure.
There's a long
if you want to
form.
call that television, because
Yeah.
it's not movies.
It's not shown on the TV, but it
right.
could be if you have that.
Right. But I
airplay
think
thing or
music attention span is starting to expand. I'm seeing it on all these tours. I'm walking
Yeah.
into these clubs and people are staying all night long. And they're young people.
Yeah.
They're millennials or younger that are coming to Ronnie Scott's and staying the whole time to hear jazz.
Yeah.
And they love it.
Well, I think that anything that isn't getting, when something is pushed down, there's a sense of a certain type of culture getting pushed down your throat when you listen to top 10 radio.
Sure.
Because you go anywhere in the country and it's the same 10 songs or 40
Yeah.
songs or whatever that
Right.
are playing.
Right.
And the same with just normal TV,
Sure.
I don't even know what's on normal TV, so I can't
Me
even
neither.
really.
I don't even have
I
any
don't know. I don't watch
examples.
that stuff.
I don't
But
have any examples.
but then that makes people seek for stuff that is more substantial or that requires more of attention span to.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's more satisfying. I love to hear a podcast when it's just people talking for a couple hours straight.
I do too.
And that's something that you wouldn't get on television,
No, you wouldn't get that until, and you have to seek it. But people are seeking it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Spotify too. People are seeking out
Right.
music that,
They're seeking it.
Which
Which is a shift, but I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I would say that probably Postmodern Jukebox needed to be in this time period for it to work.
This is Postmodern Jukebox.
You know?
Time, man.
This is it. It's time to shine.
Absolutely.
And I think that this is the first time that anybody with just an idea and that can reach people can make it a thing, you know?
You can find your people, you know?
You can find your tribe.
You can find your tribe.
I'm quoting Maya Sykes from the last Scottcast. We're doing
Hi, Maya, if you're watching.
I don't know if she's watching.
I don't either.
She did a great video today.
I'm sure of it.
Zombie.
Can't wait to see it.
Well, she did at your show. That's where I heard it.
She did. That's right. She played on my birthday show. So in January, and you did too.
Yeah, it was fun.
January was my birthday, and I did a show, and Maya did an opening set, and it killed. Then you came on as a guest during my set. Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So, what is the next tour for you?
So next week, or in a week and a half, I am going to play with 2 symphony orchestras. So the music on my album Impossible that came out in September, we arranged a bunch of those songs for full orchestra. So they're going to be reimagined. Speaking of reimagining music, which you do all the time, they're going to be, my songs that I played with Rhythm Section are going to be reimagined for large orchestra.
Can't wait to hear that. That sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do the same thing with the Boston Pops in August, which is a major bucket list thing for me. And then in between that, I'm going on the Dave Cause and Friends at Sea cruise with Dave Cause, who's played on some PMJ things.
Yeah, he just made a cameo.
Yes, and then I just made a record with him and 3 other guys with Richard Elliott and Rick Braun and Gerald Albright, the Dave Cause Summer Horns album, and then we're gonna tour that. I'm gonna tour with him all summer with Dave Cause and my new uncles.
Yeah.
and I'm playing. It's tons of horn on face. I mean, it is like.
Yeah.
I will sing on the shows, and I sang a little bit on the album, but
you're
I'm playing like for 90 straight minutes with my horn on my face. It's gonna be great.
So that's all. Okay, so you got a lot going on at once.
Yeah, and then there's a fall tour too. I'm gonna do back to the Aubrey Logan tour in the fall.
Yeah.
And
what's like how do you find yourself staying sane? Because I know you're big about, you get exercise every day, right? You do this.
I do. I exercise every day. PMJ Fit Club.
PMJ Fit Club.
PMJ Fit Club.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We're making the shirts. Shirts are coming.
Exactly. See, I think all people who I've met who are like you, who like are really, really dedicated to their craft and are entrepreneurs and are very creative, like you're very creative, and a lot of the people in PMJ, they're very, very creative. They also have a side thing that has nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
I have a side thing that has nothing to do with music that I go to every day. I do CrossFit every day, pretty much.
Well, if you see her Instagram, she posts pictures like all the time of, and it's just you just lifting tons of weight and doing crazy
safely
kipping pull-ups and stuff
with coaching. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, with great coaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And also, what I appreciate is that how many minutes have we been on for? 33. It's been 33 minutes. You didn't bring up 30. It took you 33 minutes to bring up CrossFit, and
world record. World record.
The meme that goes around is that people talk about CrossFit when they do it.
Like, how do you know someone's a CrossFitter?
Yeah, they'll tell you. Don't worry.
They'll tell you. Don't worry. Yeah.
But how did you get into that? What was the?
Well, I think this is a good time for me to maybe go into some deeper stuff.
Okay.
So when I first moved to LA, when life was really hard and it was really, kicked me in the butt, and I didn't realize it would be so hard.
You can put some soundtrack. There we go.
Of course I'm a girl, and of course I perform on stage, and of course I had body image issues, and of course I was uncomfortable with how I looked, and I really didn't, and it was deeper than that. It was much deeper than that, because I probably looked pretty darn cute in reality, but I didn't see it that way. And I, and it went down to a deeper issues with just kind of being afraid of being myself and not feeling comfortable with myself. And I also have a bit of an athletic side that was never really woken up because I did music for so long.
Right.
And as a kid, I did gymnastics, but and I don't do team sports. I don't throw balls or catch them. But I did gymnastics as a kid, and then that went away because that music overtook my life. But this athlete side of me was always kind of there, and I just wasn't utilizing it. And so I would try to go to the gym to try and look good, and that didn't ever satisfy me or work for me. And then I just like learned about CrossFit in college, but I couldn't afford it yet. And I just was like not able to do it. But then the minute one opened down the street, like 4 years ago from my house, I was like, now's the time. Now's the time to do it. I don't know that I can afford it, but I'm going to budget for it. And I'm going to make it a priority, and I'm going to buy fewer lattes, and I'm going to just do it. And I did it, and it incorporates lots of gymnastics, but other things like weightlifting and running, which is my worst thing. It incorporates all my weaknesses as well as my strengths.
Got it.
Which is another wonderful thing mentally, I think, is just to work on something that I'm not that great at.
I think that's huge.
To take myself out of, being obsessed with something else. And obviously, the side effect is you look quite a bit better after you've done it a while, and that's a nice side effect, but it really was just a side effect. I mean, that wasn't the reason I did it, and that wasn't the driving factor. The driving force was, wow, I'm accomplishing so much physically. What could I accomplish creatively? Like, it really bled into the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think that one thing that a benefit of exercise that people don't maybe think about is the amount of a focus it gives you. Yeah. Because you're doing something that's uncomfortable when you're exercising, it's not really comfortable. It's not usually fun, in that way, in the traditional sense. It doesn't feel good. So it kind of prepares you, I think, just for situations that are uncomfortable, which is all of life, There's lots of uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, there were times, especially at the beginning, when we would do certain workouts, which a lot of times are for time or you get an allotted time and you have to complete as many things as possible within that allotted time. So you're constantly kind of like trying to beat yourself.
Right.
And there were times when I would leave the workout going, wow, if I did that, if I just did that, I can do anything. That kind of feeling did follow me around. And I would never not do it anymore. I mean, I travel more now, and I used to compete. I mean, at the beginning, I would do weekend throwdowns, intermediate competitions, and I don't think I'll do one of those for a while because I'm traveling so much, but it's still great. I mean, like, I still come home to it. I still try and work out on the road. It's great.
I think it's a great thing to do, just to be involved with some kind of physical activity. And
Casey likes to walk and run and play Frisbee.
Casey playing Frisbee, I can't imagine it.
Oh, he did it when we were on tour with Straight No Chaser.
I've seen him do some hacky sack before. And
he's very
when
good
I saw him, I was like, this is exactly what I expect Casey to be doing right now.
Of course it is.
Doing something.
Hi, Casey,
but
if you're watching.
We went for a run one time. He came with us I was like, hey, you want to go for a run? We're going to go, and he just woke up, he rolled out, and he's wearing his multi-purpose shorts and stuff.
Oh, those multi-purpose shorts.
And they're all like ripped and everything. And I was like, all right, you want to put on like running clothes or something? And he had like a polo shirt on. He's like, no, I'm good. And he just went running, and he had shoes like this, like they were like not running shoes at all. But
there's nobody like Casey.
No, there's nobody like Casey.
There's nobody.
But I will give him credit. I mean, I think a lot of people are afraid to do something if they don't, they make excuses for themselves.
Yeah, or they feel unprepared. It's like, you're not gonna be prepared. Just do it.
Just
jump in the water.
Just do it. On that note, let's play another song.
Yeah, let's play a song we know even less.
Yeah, let's do that Carole King song.
Yes, okay? That Carole. What key do you want to do it in?
Well, you were singing it. I could do any key, I guess.
Where was I singing it?
You were singing it A minor.
Let's do that.
All right, here we go.
Let's see if I remember the words. It's okay because we can riff. Because this is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
People like that more sometimes. Sometimes when there's like big mistakes and,
Absolutely.
Just go with it.
Okay.
All right.
I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start trembling whenever you're around. Ooh, baby, when I see your face, meadow as a month of May, I know that I can't stand it when you look at me that way. Oh, I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start trembling whenever you're around. Show 'em those bars. Woo!
Hey, there we go. That went all kinds of places. That was cool.
All kinds of places. It's amazing what happens when you don't remember the second verse.
Yeah. It worked out.
I'm actually going to sing that on a boat next month.
There we go.
With Dave Cause.
That like makes sense. So that's kind of like a yacht rock era.
You know, we're doing a whole night dedicated to Carole King.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
sure, great song.
Guess who I'm hosting that night with?
Who are you hosting with?
Ariana Savalas.
Oh no. There goes the neighborhood.
I am going to be on a boat for 2 straight weeks with Ariana Savalas.
You guys should do like a duo kind of like, do your own like podcast, just the two of you.
We might.
That'd be funny.
I'm a prude. And she's Ariana Savalas.
Yeah.
And we're like best friends. And when we get together, it is the funniest thing. I can't stop laughing. I mean, at my expense, I can't stop laughing. So I can't imagine being on a boat for 2 straight weeks with her, but I can't wait. I also can't.
I can't even imagine being on a boat for 2 straight weeks.
Oh yeah, that was.
Have you done that before?
I did it last year.
Yeah,
I did it last year. So it's fun. I mean, you get 1 week with one audience.
Okay.
And I did a show every night. I did like a show of my music, and then I did a themed show, and then and the audience is kind of, they're not just there to hear you perform. They're there to kind of hang out with you. And it's really fun. I mean, I'll be eating dinner and I'm hanging out with fans, hanging out with people on the boat. And then you'll do an excursion and then hang out with the same people. So the second week is a whole new group of people.
I see.
So it's
like,
like,
you get to know them as time goes on.
And you get to know them
you're
throughout
like,
the 7 days.
There's that family, there's that person.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
I think that's the one thing that is tough about touring is, you know, you get, like, I'll meet people at a meet and greet or something like that.
Right.
Really quickly.
Right.
And I'll usually remember them.
Yeah.
You know, if I see them at multiple things like that. But I guess you don't really get to know too much about them.
You don't. And our friend Dave Cause does this cruise every year.
That's cool.
And he has seen the value in like hanging out for a week with the same group of fans. Now there's so many shows going on. I mean, if you're on that boat, you can't possibly see them all. But really, I don't think you could. But it's really cool. It's really exciting. And touring wise, you and I both know we're never in the same city for more than one night in a row. I will say, being in one spot, I mean, the boat moves, but you're on the same, you're in the same bed for 2 straight weeks.
That's kind of nice.
I mean, you're sleeping in the same bed 14 nights in a row. I don't know that I've done that in years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're doing PMJ on a boat. We're doing Holland America.
That's right.
So that's starting up again.
That's
We had done a trial run, and we're going to be starting that up soon.
Oh, that is so cool.
And that was really fun. You know, I went into it because I had to be on the boat to kind of, you know, kick things off and everything. And I was kind of nervous about it. I was like, oh, I'm going to go crazy being on a boat for,
They're big boats, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought I was going to be really bored just being on a boat.
Yeah.
But and in the first couple of days, that was kind of tough. I was like, oh, get me off this boat. You know, I want to be by my stuff.
Yeah.
But then by like day 3 and 4, I'm like, this is actually kind of nice. And then I just, you know, I was doing the same thing. I was just, you know, every day there's a buffet and everything.
Yep. Oh,
you
you
go
get
see
so fat.
music. You get to see music at night,
Yeah.
and there were other great acts there. You just kind of hang out.
Yep.
You know, and I was like, okay, I can see why people enjoy that.
Once a year or less. Or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
But then I was still like excited to get back to land. I'm not really a boat person as much as.
Yeah, definitely land is more my style. But you know, for 2 weeks out of the year, I'll do it. I'll do it, and I'll especially do it if Ariana Savalas is hosting shows.
Well, it's going to be a good hang with Ariana and Kaz and everybody. And
it's good.
Were you at Ariana always does those pancake like?
Oh yes, I was there. I saw you there.
That's right. Yeah,
I saw you there.
That was fun. And Kaz was there too. And
she was. Yeah. She makes pancakes for everyone else on her birthday.
Yeah, it's just an Ariana thing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Ariana's changing the world one pancake at a time.
One gluten-free pancake at a time.
Of course.
Absolutely.
We're in LA, so, you know. What's another song we could play? I think we should give the people one more song.
Yeah, we should play another
we did
song.
How long did we do? This felt like a good... 45 minutes. We're giving some people some good content here.
Let's play... Do we want to do something we've never done before?
Yeah. I like just the challenge of just.
Okay.
We talked about getting out of our comfort zones.
Okay.
Let's get out of our comfort zones.
I'm going to get out of my comfort zone with a song that I don't. I'm going to surprise you.
Yeah.
For once.
Okay. All right.
I don't know yet. Hold on.
Maybe. Oh, okay.
You can feel it all.
What key is that in?
B, natural.
Of course, they pick like the hardest key.
Which is
Thank you,
Stevie's
Stevie
key.
Wonder.
Stevie's original key. It's his fault.
All right.
Because we talked about Stevie. Music doesn't isn't always well. They're one of the things that life just won't quit. And here are some of music's pioneers that time will not allow us to forget. Oh, well, there's Basie, Miller, Satch, and Poe, and the king of all Sir Duke. And with a voice like Gallows ringing out, there's no way the band can lose. Woo! They can feel it all over. They can feel it all over, people. They can feel it all over. I can feel it all over. Stevie Wonder medley.
Stevie Wonder medley right there. That was Sir Duke.
Yep. And then you went to I Wish.
I Wish.
You quoted a little superstition.
A little bit, yes, I did for a second. And then we went into Signed, Sealed, Delivered. So
it's like getting in a car with Scott Bradley, and he drives you to all these places.
Just like a maniac, just crazy.
I was mouthing things about you to the camera with your back turned towards me.
You're talking to me on my back.
I said, Scott Bradley is an encyclopedia of songs, and he knows every song.
Certain songs. I know certain songs.
Every song.
Yeah. Every song. Well, I know a lot of Stevie Wonder. I don't know a lot of. There's always people that I do these live broadcasts where I take requests.
Yes.
And people have gotten. They've gotten kind of hip to the songs that I don't know, so they've been deliberately picking.
How do they find out?
Well, they
talk.
They know that I skip certain songs if it's requested, and they're like, "Well, he never plays this song. It's because he doesn't know it."
You know, I am the worst at learning lyrics.
Well, lyrics are hard to learn. It's easier to learn
Not
the song
for some people.
than lyrics.
You know who's really good at learning lyrics?
Maya's
Maya's a machine. Mm-hmm. Danny Armstrong is a machine at learning lyrics.
At that. Yeah.
And I watch them learn these lyrics, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, wow. Yeah. Like chords, I'll learn those. I'll learn melodies.
Lyrics are a lot harder, I think.
They're harder. They're hard, man. But I respect the people who are machines at it. I just have to work extra hard.
A lot of pop song lyrics are really tough because they're kind of random.
When they're random, it's harder. When they don't have a coherent story, it's certainly harder to learn.
Right, yeah. And also, it's when it's like, I don't know, I was talking about the the other day about songs like Pitbull's International Love, and it's all cities that are in the U.S.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you could have put in like Paris or London or
He
something in
didn't.
there. Didn't.
No.
So it's not very intuitive. Pop music isn't very intuitive.
Not really.
Lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some is and some isn't. Like a James Taylor song, which is maybe considered pop, depending on
Pop.
who you ask.
I think so. I think
Or
we can call
folk.
it pop.
You know, those songs are easy to memorize because easier to memorize because they tell a story that actually has a flow.
Yeah. What's your favorite like artist that people wouldn't expect that you listen to?
Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton.
Interesting. Okay.
When I tell them the country artists I love, they wonder why, and again, I don't wonder why,
Right.
Because
yeah.
even that, even country music to me stems back to early American music, which jazz is from, and pop is from, and funk is from, and R&B is from. So, Charlie Parker is famous for saying how much he liked country music,
Yeah.
and his reasoning was the stories.
Especially old country. I
Yeah.
think that, I don't know, sometimes when I listen to new country, sometimes it feels like they're just like kind of checking off boxes.
They're
it's like,
pop
all right,
songs.
we're going to talk about a pickup truck or something like that.
Yeah.
But the really good country songwriters,
Yep.
they write amazing songs. And
I
think
love
that's,
the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, and that's
for
one of the
example.
last places where you can be just a really great songwriter and have it be about the song and
Absolutely.
not about the production values.
Right.
So I
and
appreciate country for that.
yeah, and so I'm a big fan of it. Yeah, and I love Vince Gill. Like I love,
Yeah.
and some of them
Crazy voice.
when the songs are good. Yeah,
Yeah.
when the songs are good, they do have the best singers too.
Yeah.
They tend to have like, it's very hard to find a country singer who can't sing. It's
Right.
easier to
Yeah.
find a pop singer who can't sing.
You
It's
don't need
not.
to, yeah.
Because you don't have to sing that well,
Well,
when
pop
you
is
have a
about
bunch
image,
of
it's
auto tune on it
yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
But like these country singers are real singers, and I respect that highly.
Let's do a Johnny Cash song.
Oh, Scott,
That's one you know.
I don't.
Or we could do, Dolly Parton. Let's do something ballady.
Let's do. Do you know? Okay, this is not Dixie Chicks covered this.
Yeah.
I took my love and I took it down. Do you know Landslide?
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac.
That counts.
Turn around.
I kind of know it.
Let's just sing "You Are My
Let's
Sunshine."
see. We could.
Guys, this is real. This is us deciding if we know any of the same songs. That I build my life around you. Time makes it colder. Children get older. I'm getting older too. I've been afraid of changing because I build my life around you. And time makes you colder. Children get older. I'm getting older too. Ooh. You make me happy when skies are gray. I'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Aubrey Logan. Aubrey Logan, where can people follow you?
AubreyLogan.com will take you to the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitter.
Just go to that website, and I link to it in the description box, and you can follow her. You can get her album, Impossible.
Yeah.
You can see her on upcoming performances with Dave Koz, with her own solo tour. I think, are you doing some PMJ stuff?
Sneak right into some PMJ stuff. I'll announce them on their website.
Yeah, we got some other stuff too. All right. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time, okay?
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Bye.